Hey guys, what is up? Array Mage here, bringing another gameplay commentary. This is King of the Hill on Thrashball. You'll notice this one starts very late in the match. Actually starts in the last round, I believe. And it was just one of those long matches where it was about, I think, 25 minutes long, and I figured, you know, rather than post a 15, 13-minute long commentary, which I know some people probably get turned off by that because, you know, you don't want to hear my ass talk for that long. You might get a little annoyed because I can talk for hours. So I went ahead and just said, you know what, I'm just going to take this goddamn gameplay, and I'm going to take these gameplays, and I'm just going to go ahead and start, you know, cutting them down to, you know, under 10 minutes, and, you know, maybe I'll put the exciting parts in there. This one, I just went ahead and went to the last, I think roughly last 10 minutes, so I don't know how great the last 10 minutes are. You'll see at the end I get like 46, I have 46 kills and I get MVP, so I was busting my ass that match. But anyways, if you're wondering why it's starting in the middle, that's why. Today, guys, I'm going to talk about something I've seen some people talk about it a little bit, but I'm just surprised it hasn't been talked about more. I've talked about it with some friends in Array, some friends outside of Array, and I was, you know, it's just one of those curiosity kind of things where I'm wondering, you know, what everybody else is feeling and thinking. But I wanted to talk about the future of the GAL community, not just, you know, the community as a whole, but even the YouTube GAL portion, even the YouTube portion of the community. I'm a little tongue-tied. Cut me a little slack. I'm doing this commentary late at night. But I've been wondering, you know, for a while, you know, what is the future of the GAL community? And honestly, I think it's going to be on the decline. I think it is. I don't see it dying out, because I personally think we're going to see another Gears of War on at least one more on the Xbox One, and you know, we'll get to see if Epic learned anything from Judgment. Maybe we'll see if, you know, we get something better this time, because, you know, not everybody likes Judgment. Everybody knows where I stand on it. I hate that fucking game, but, you know, and I'm sure not everybody liked Gears 3, and everybody kind of wanted a Gears 1 clone, almost, you know, with, you know, maybe better movement and such, but didn't quite happen with Judgment. At least I don't feel like it did. But, you know, we'll get to find out, but I just think we're in for, I feel like the GAL community is going to be drastically altered. I don't see it dying off. It may die off, but I think the GAL community as we know it is about to be drastically altered. And it ain't because of, you know, the community being bad, or there being, you know, a lot of guys that may give the community a bad name. For the record, I am what you would call a naive optimist when it comes to the GAL community. I think there's more good people than there are bad. I think there's more guys that, you know, are good pillars of the community and are just plain helpful. They're not jerks. I just, you know, like I said, I'm a naive optimist. Maybe I have a different experience with it, and I'm chill for the most part. I walk away when I run into some jackass that thinks has a problem with me or something. I'm just that kind of person. But like I said, I just feel like there's more good people than bad. But if there's one thing that's going to hurt the GAL community, it ain't going to be the jerks. It ain't going to be that, you know, maybe Gears is got a steep learning curve, or that, you know, some of the hardcore, you know, Gears fans are going to feel that the game or the series has changed drastically and thus it's on the decline. I mean, I know guys that have quit GAL and went on to play Call of Duty, either because they're frustrated with Gears of War and they feel like, you know, it rewards, you know, people that play like scrubs, which I kind of sympathize with. Retro Lancers, Sawed-Offs, Meleeing, and Judgment, you know, you get what I'm going on here about. But I can kind of understand where some of those guys are coming from. But it isn't going to be that, I don't think, either. What's going to hurt it is the obvious. 5 months from now, the new consoles are coming out. And like I said, I don't see, you know, I don't quite see the GAL community dying off. I mean, there's going to be a few guys that are holdouts. There's going to be a few guys that are going to be playing Gears of War on the older consoles. But when, you know, when you're gonna have people, pay $500. I know if I pay $500 for an Xbox One, I'm probably not going to be playing Gears of War 3 for a while. I'm probably going to be playing that goddamn console for quite some time. And that is something that I think is going to hurt Gears of War. I mean, you think about Gears 3, before Judgment came out, Gears 3 had a decline player population. I had a tough time even getting ranked King of the Hill matches with friends at one point in time. And it was because the population was declining. And right around this time when I was really having trouble trying to get, a ranked, King of the Hill match, Halo 4 came out. Assassin's Creed 3 came out. Blops 2, I think, was right around the corner, I think, at that time. And it was just you had all these new games coming out, and Gears 3 had been out for quite some time. And I guess some people like myself, had this hope that, Judgment was going to be as popular, and it was probably going to be similar to Gears 3 and stuff, but it was a flawed game, for various reasons. I personally feel it had a lot more to do with a lack of content and maps rather than gameplay, even though that was my major beef, how the game played and handled. But that is what's going to hurt the GAL community. That's what's going to kill it, not because these games are going to be bad or people are not going to be playing it. Well, they won't be playing them, but you're just going to have newer games out there. People are going to be playing, assuming, PS4 and Xbox One, assuming both of them, a lot of people buy those two consoles, which I feel like they will. A lot of people are going to be playing the newer games like Call of Duty Ghost. They're going to be playing all the other games. And, of course, when games like Titanfall comes out, when I think it's PlanetSide 2 for the PS4, when it comes out, you're going to have those two exclusives out, and then you're going to see more people playing those games. And like I said, we'll probably see another Gears game on the new console, in particular the Xbox One, but I don't think we're going to be seeing it. I just feel like this time next year, I'm wondering, how many people are going to take their channels and on the YouTube portion and make themselves multi-gaming. I was talking with some guys in Array. Some have actually talked about that and speculated. I'm not going to get into details and such, but I know myself, I just don't see myself, if I go out and get a console pretty early, I don't think I'm going to get one at launch, but, I get one a month or two later, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of, hardware issues with them, like the red rings of death, like for the 360. I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of hardware issues with those consoles, but we'll see. But I honestly see myself around this time next year. I don't see my channel as being primarily Gears of War. It's probably going to be multi-gaming. I don't know if I'm going to be doing Call of Duty on the Xbox One or PS4, whichever one I decide. I'm kind of leaning Xbox One at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to be doing Titanfall. I mean, I've made some friends in Array, and I've kind of joked with a few of them. Array Sly, I've been joking with him, saying, hey, let's make a Titanfall clan, joking with him and shit. But it really ain't nothing to joke about. And someone brought up, this time next year, we may not be seeing the same guys in some of these clans. It'd be interesting to see how many of these clans, how many clans, end up, moving away from GAL. How many just close down completely and die off. How many go on to be multi-gaming also. It'll be interesting. And that's what I see. If anything's going to do the GAL community in, change it drastically. And like I said, it may come back if there's another Gears, but it's going to be forever changed. And if the next Gears game is looked at in a similar light to Judgment, if Epic doesn't learn from its mistakes, that's it. I mean, for me as a hardcore Gears fan, I will probably continue playing Gears of War games if one was to come out for Xbox One. But if it's anything like Judgment, I'll probably just rent it to play the campaign, may dick around on Horde. That's it. I don't see myself, I wouldn't see myself playing the regular multiplayer long at all, if it's anything like Judgment, because I didn't enjoy Judgment's multiplayer at all. I got annoyed. Alright, this commentary is coming to an end, guys, and sorry if I rambled a little bit. It is late at night, and I had to do a comm, so I'll catch you guys later. Peace.